Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update on the current situation here in Spain, day 339 of the current situation, and the Catalonian election results continue to dominate the press here in Spain, but more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel through a donation. You can see your name here. Thanks to people that bought merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your continuing support. Now, let's get into the news. And as I said, the Catalonian elections that were held last Sunday continue to dominate the news here in Spain. Still not 100% clear exactly who will be able to form government in Catalonia, but everything seems to be pointing towards separatist parties. We'll take a look what some of the international press has to say on the Catalonian election results. And as we can see here from this one, pro-separatist win in Catalonia elections ripple throughout Spain. The future government of Spain's restive Catalonia region is in the hands of a man spending his nights in a prison cell for sedition. After completing 1/4 of his 13-year sentence for his part in a 2017 succession attempt, Oriol Junqueras was granted open prison regime in late January, meaning he can spend daytime outside prison. He devotes much of that time, in and outside, to leading the Republican left of Catalonia, the party now positioned to choose its governing partners after this weekend's inconclusive regional election boosted by the separatists' power. On the back of a record low turnout, the three main parties that want to create a Catalan state expanded their strength to 74 lawmakers in the 135-seat Barcelona-based parliament, up from 70 in 2017. So the pro-separatist parties in Catalonia are expanding their strength, as we just saw, going from 70 seats in 2017 to 74 seats now, and as the headline said, sending a ripple throughout the rest of the country, especially when it comes to right-wing politics. The centre-right parties here in Spain, the Citizens Party and the Partido Popular, did very, very badly in those elections, and all of the right vote was captured by the extreme group Vox. And a lot of people are now asking the question, what is the Partido Popular now going to do to reclaim that lost ground to Vox? As we can see from this headline, the barons of the PP fear that the Catalan debacle will radicalise the leader of the party, Mr. Casado. The PP is troubled. The debacle in the Catalan elections has been a serious blow to the leader of the main opposition party, Pablo Casado, who was fully involved but unsuccessfully in trying to refloat the PP brand in Catalonia, which was already starting from its worst historical result. The PP looks at with bewilderment the rise of Vox, with 11 seats in the parliament and almost 4 times more votes in Catalonia. Barons of the party, who this Tuesday will ask the leadership for a deep reflection and less ups and downs in his speech, fear that Mr. Casado will now let himself be infected by Vox and radicalise his strategy. However, a prominent member of the Partido Popular, Mr. García Egea, assures that Casado will not change his course due to the result in Catalonia. The PP, as usual, is blaming Mr. Sanchez for the bad result and for the agreement between Bárcenas and the prosecution. So rocky times ahead for the Partido Popular as the Vox balloon continues to rise. Where are the limits? Now we'll take a look now at the health situation in Spain, which has recently been pushed onto the back pages of newspapers because of the Catalonian elections, and it's good news as far as the health situation is concerned. And as we can see here, Fernando Simón has affirmed that there is a clear downward evolution of coronavirus infections. The director of the Centre for the Coordination of Health Alerts and Emergencies explained the decrease in cases, the vaccination campaign, and that the elderly and nursing homes had always been above the incidence, but right now it has changed. They are slightly below, and it's the first time that this has happened. So according to Mr. Simón, a clear downward evolution in the infection rate here in Spain, and the situation in nursing homes is also on the improve, given that they have been the main focus of the vaccination strategy here in Spain up until now. Now, the European Union spoke yesterday about the vaccination plan around the EU bloc, and we can see here that Ursula von der Leyen promises to accelerate large-scale coronavirus vaccination in April. She believes that February and March will continue to be difficult months, but expects that in April there will be a massive jump in vaccination. So let's hope that that is the case, that there is a massive jump, as she says, in the vaccination plan in April, because as we know, it's been a little bit slow up until now. We'll have a look now at the data, and we can see that here in Spain, the numbers are slowly creeping up. We're now sitting at 2.26% of the total population that has completed their vaccinations, and people that have had at least one dose is now sitting at 3.15% of the population, or in other words, just under 1.5 million people. We'll also have a look at the health data around the country. We can see that the risk level is still extreme. The total amount of cases, the AI rate for the last 14 days, now down to 416. There are currently 21,030 people hospitalised around the country with COVID, and there are 4,128 people in ICUs, which is just under 38% of all ICUs in the country. And we'll also take a look at the Valencian community, which has been one of the hotspots in the country in recent times. The risk level is still extreme. The total amount of cases, the AI rate now down to 505. Remember that it peaked at around 1,300 a couple of weeks ago. There are 2,469 people currently hospitalised in the Valencian community with COVID, and there are 570 people in ICUs, which is just over 46% of all ICUs in the Valencian community. So we can see that the pressure on hospitals is coming down. Now, there's also been a fair bit of debate in recent times about the proposed vaccination passport. As we know, some countries are in favour of a passport like this, some countries are against a passport like this, so not really sure what the strategy is going to be. But as we can see here, Spain continues to look to vaccination passports in order to reactivate tourism. Spain is continuing to seek to establish a Europe-wide vaccination card or passport as a means of opening up to foreign tourism this summer. The Economic Affairs Ministry has identified such a document as being of fundamental importance in enabling a recovery of tourism. The Tourism Minister, Reyes Maroto, is committed to the idea of a vaccination passport and to looking to convince the European Commission. In interviews with Spanish media in recent days, the Secretary of State for Tourism, Fernando Valdés, has highlighted the importance of vaccination as one aspect of facilitating safe travel. So it seems obvious that if people want to have a holiday in Spain this year or next, they're going to need to get their vaccinations done. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from recent videos. One here from Steve O. In the UK, 15,300,000 people have received one dose and 540,000 people have received two doses, but the effect has been a dramatic decline in infections and deaths. Yes, Steve-O, thanks for the comment. I have seen on the graph that case numbers in the UK are down. I saw that they peaked on the 8th of January and now well down below the figures recorded on that date. But is it due to the vaccine or the restrictions? We all know that these things go up, then they come down, they go up, then they come down. I think the key is going to be to see whether it stays down, and then perhaps we could say that it is a result of the vaccination plan in the UK. I read an article before in the Financial Times. Boris Johnson is not really sure whether this is the case or not. He's not sure whether it is because of the vaccination plan or because of the restrictions, but apparently the data coming out of Israel is positive, so that's something also to look forward to. But I think at this stage, not really clear. One here from Diogo. Tomorrow is a great day in Portugal, Carnival. In Spain, it's also well celebrated in some regions such as Galicia, Asturias or Leon, but not in all the country. However, that changed because of the pandemic. This year in Portugal, Carnival National Holiday was cancelled, and it will be a normal day of work. Even students that don't usually have classes from Carnival Monday into Ashes Wednesday are having them. Yeah, Diogo, thanks for the comment. I think something similar is happening in Spain. A lot of the Carnival celebrations in places like the ones you mentioned there in the north of the country are not being celebrated this year, or they're having some type of online celebration. I know that the school across the road that my son used to go to always celebrated Carnival. It was a big event there, and this year nothing is taking place. But of course that's to be expected given the current situation in both countries. Health situation in Portugal not very good at the moment, so the government obviously thinking that the best idea is to cancel celebrations like this. And of course in Spain, as we know, the health situation is not much better, and also leading governments to cancel Carnival celebrations. But it's not the end of the world, and as we are slowly learning, health comes first. One here from Jonathan. I think most governments will miss their self-imposed deadlines for vaccination. Whether countries like Spain, Croatia, Italy and others that depend on tourism will have much of a summer season is, in my mind, 50-50 at best. I hope I'm wrong. Yeah, Jonathan, thanks for the comment. You're most probably right. At the rate the vaccination plans are going, I don't think many countries are going to meet their deadlines. Here in Spain, it's a very ambitious deadline. They want to get 70% of the population vaccinated by the summer months. And as we know, the tourism minister is pushing for that vaccination passport in order to get the tourism sector up and running. Let's be honest, the tourism sector is desperate to get the country open again, putting a lot of pressure on people like the tourism minister to open the country up again. But of course, the health situation is going to dictate whether this happens or not. I think we're all hopeful that we can have some type of holiday this year, but at this stage probably a little bit too early to tell. Want to hear from Angela? Hi Stuart, I don't think your followers will understand the results of the Catalan elections, and I would be surprised if they are interested. Not your fault, of course. Thank you. Yeah, Angela, thanks for the comment. I didn't really know whether people were going to be interested in the Catalonian elections either, but some 14,000 people watched yesterday's video, and the retention rate was around 6.5 minutes, and considering that it was around a 10-minute long video, that's fairly high. And to tell you the truth, few things surprise me nowadays, but all I know is that there are a lot of people interested in what goes on in this country. One here from Gary. Hi Stuart, no matter what anybody wants to believe, I think we can say goodbye to tourists coming here this summer. I live in a house right on the beach, and the houses on either side of me are holiday lets. They have been empty since March. The hotels have closed. What happens to people who have lost their jobs due to COVID, cannot pay their mortgage and end up with no place to go? And another comment on the same topic from Jeffrey. In my opinion, I think Spain will open for tourism in the summer no matter what. Spain can't afford another summer without the income from the tourism sector. Thank you for all the updates. Yeah, Gary and Jeffrey, thanks for the comment. And as you can see, you both have opposing opinions on what is going to happen this year in Spain regarding tourism. We saw in a comment before that somebody said that they were 50-50 when it comes to tourism this year. And you guys are sitting on the opposite side of the fence. Gary saying that it's not going to happen and Jeffrey saying that it is. As I said before, I don't know. All I know is that it is a huge sector here in Spain, something like 15% of the total GDP. And if you go to places like the Costa del Sol, Benidorm, the Balearic Islands, Ibiza, for example, the Canary Islands, it is a huge part of the GDP in those places. So that would lead me to believe that the country is going to try to open. We can see the tourism minister constantly in the press talking about vaccination passports and the like. But as we know, it's going to depend on the vaccination plans around the world, whether we can have safe tourism in the country. But as I just said, I would probably put my money on the country opening up the tourism this year. One here from Airspan. Here in Germany, we're nearing the 50 incidence rate. Merkel wants the country to get down to 35 before ending the lockdown, which is planned for the 7th of March. It's going good at the moment. Yeah, Airspan, thanks for the comment. I did see on the news the other day that that is Ms. Merkel's plan to get the incidence rate down to 35 before the country opens up again, and they are on track to do that. 35, wow, we can only dream of having an incidence rate like that in Spain at the moment. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out as you normally do. I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. Hasta mañana.